The world is changing, and the future doesn't wait. At Unimi, we don't just imagine tomorrow, we build it. From defending digital borders, to teaching machines how to think, and launching startups that change lives. We are Unimi, Malaysia's digital university, now leading the region. Build the future with us. Apply now at unimi.edu.my.
Ooh, okay, suddenly quite a few people are joining now, which is great. Okay, we'll give it a few more, maybe we'll give it 1-2 minutes for those who are joining. Are we on YouTube as well? Yeah, YouTube as well. Okay, great. YouTube, anyone on YouTube? Let me know. Put a thumbs up in the chat so I know that you are here. If you are here to learn economics, IGCSE, then you're in the right place. If it's in any other subject, you're in the wrong place, but please do stay anyways. Cool, man. Okay. All right. Brody, welcome. Okay, anyways, I'm probably going to just quickly introduce myself first, guys. My name is Alex. I am a economics and business studies teacher. So I've been teaching for about more than 10 years already. These are just some of the photos that I like to put. Just to introduce myself, top right corner was like my first graduating class. But at the same time, I also do a lot of workshops with kids outside of school, sometimes during school. So these are some of the workshops. I also run, I'm also an entrepreneur, that means I actually run my own business. And not only that, is that my previous school that I was at, I actually helped kids run businesses as well. I helped train them as well. Bottom right was a kid that wanted to create her own board game. So I think it was pretty cool, her own card game. So I helped her come up with the idea and stuff. Now, why am I sharing you this is that I hope that you know is that whatever you learn, sometimes you learn subjects like math, science, it's very hard for you to apply in real life. In economics, you may not see it, but the concepts in economics, yes, you get to actually apply in real life. For example, you learning how businesses work, how businesses make money, how the world works, supply and demand. That makes a lot of sense. Why are some things more expensive than the other? It's because demand is much higher. Why is gold so expensive? It's because gold is limited. The supply of gold is less, that's why price is high. So basically what I'm trying to say is that you picking economics, right? I'm happy because at least it's something that you can apply in real life. Maybe, I don't want to talk bad about like subjects like math, right? Like math, I don't know. Where would you use dy, dx? I don't know. Maybe you guys can tell me. I don't know. Basically, I suck at math, okay? So I'm not trying to talk bad about math, but yeah. Anyways, I'm just very curious today, actually. I want to know, why are you guys studying economics? So guys online here, I couldn't come physically because family emergency. Well, I'm glad that we are living in the 21st century where internet is available, and yeah, it's everything live stream as well. Yeah, and if you cannot, and don't worry, any of the questions I will be getting my team to help copy and paste it in the chat. If you cannot see the screens, is here as well. Okay, yeah. So my first question is just curious. We'll start with you guys here. It's only, why are you studying econs? Why are you studying econs? Did your mom and dad just say, just take it, follow me, or what? Generally, you want to share? Why? No? You don't know why? You just randomly, economics, I think. Or what? Sorry? Yeah, in the end, it could have been a choice, right? Yourself? You? Why do you pick the subject economics? Okay, great. You guys in the back? Okay, yeah, good choice. Actually, my bio. I took bio in IGCSE, but I don't know what I got. Yeah. Oh God, thank God you pick econs, man. Yeah, math is anything but math. Yeah, anyways, and anyone who here is a math expert, I apologize. I've been talking bad about math. But yeah. Okay, so what I'll do is that I'm gonna there's two parts of today. The first part is basically I'm gonna be teaching you guys how to answer exam questions. And the second part is you're gonna do the exam questions. I think that's about it. So if you are here that you want to learn everything in econs in 3 hours, that's not the goal today. I'm not here to teach you guys the concepts. I'm not here to teach you what's the difference between economic growth. I'm not here to teach you how to calculate unemployment. All that you should know or you should self-study. Today's goal is for me to teach you guys how to answer exam questions effectively. And of course, I'll be teaching you a bit of content on the side as well, right? So we all know that there are 6 topics, and I have chosen 6 subtopics in those 6 topics to ask you exam questions on, all right? Now, in case you guys don't know, I hope you all know. By the way, anyone here is still in year 10? Or you're all year 11, right? So you're taking the exam in end of this year. Okay, you're in year 10. Okay, so you're basically beginning of year 11. So meaning your exam is next year only. Okay. So that means there may be some things you're not studying yet. But don't worry lah. Just take it whatever you can. And plus, you'll have an advantage. Okay? So for those who don't know, in case you don't know, there are 2 papers. Okay, those who are online, I hope you all know there are 2 papers, right? Paper 1, multiple choice, 45 minutes, 30 marks. Paper 2, it's a structured question. That is the one where it's 2 hours 15. This is 70% of your exams, your grade. Doesn't mean the paper is not important. Paper 1 is multiple choice. I won't be going much into detail about multiple choice today. Most of the work I'll be talking about is paper 2 because that's where most of the marks is. And that surprisingly, that's why most people struggle. Is the writing. Apparently people are very good at circling answers. Yeah. Okay. So this is what I wanted to show you guys. Command words. In fact, if you have not seen the IGCSE syllabus yet, please go and download it. Just Google IGCSE Economics Syllabus 2026-2027. Have a good look through. Why this slide is important is because sometimes people do not realize is that whenever they ask you a question, you look at the key question word, you will know what to write. You will know how much to write. I'll give you an example. If you see questions that is like this, oops, sorry. Okay, let's change color to this. Let's change it to, wait 1 second. Okay, yeah. Okay, so if you see questions like define, state, identify, you should celebrate. Why? Is because you don't need to explain, you only need the right point form. For example, there could be a question in like, let's say, section A, paper 2, which is a case study. They may say this, identify 2 types of public goods from the case study. Then you just write, maybe, I don't know, what are public goods? I don't know, street lights and roads. You see, I literally wrote 1, 2, 3, 4 words. You can get 2 marks, assuming it's 2 marks. Well, it will be 2 marks. So the question says, state 2 macroeconomic objectives. You just write, what are the 2? There are 4. So you just pick any of those 2. Well, the obvious ones I'm going to think about is economic growth and high employment. Right? So if you guys know this, great, but you'll be surprised that when I was teaching, right, there will be a few of my A students, my B students, well, whatever students, they will write full sentences. They will still write, oh, the first objective is economic growth. Then they may even explain it. Don't. Why? Because I'm teaching you guys how to be very efficient with your time. Because I have some students that are very smart, but they will say, I know the answer, but I just don't have enough time lah. I wrote so long. And then they write like 1 whole page for a 6-mark question is a waste of time. Okay? So I'm just giving you a few key exam tips here. Okay? So again, state, define. Now, if they say define, then you probably need to give me 1 proper sentence lah. Like define the term, I'm trying to think. Define the term multinational. Then yeah, then you obviously can't just do point form. You may want to write a nice proper sentence to get 2 marks, okay? Yeah. Now, when you see the word explain, analyze, describe, then yes, you need to have proper sentences. Usually this is where you need to give me point form and you need to explain. I have a lot of students that their English is not their strongest subject and they may not be able to write well. Unfortunately, when it comes to explain, analyze, describe, you need to do a bit of writing. I'll give you an example here. Let's do explain 2 types of direct taxes. 4 marks. Okay? So the question here, okay, so guys who are online, I mean, you may not be able to see this, but I'm just giving you an example question. Explain 2 types of direct taxes. Now, how do you get 4 marks? Usually 4-mark question, if they say explain 2 types, you need to give me 2 points. And then how do you get the 3rd and 4th mark? You explain. You have to give me a proper explanation. So if you, let's say, you have like 1 minute left in the exam already, and you see this question, if you just give me 2 types of direct taxes, and you submit the paper without explaining, how many marks do you think you can get? You get 2 marks, exactly. You can already get 2 marks. So you got the 2 marks with a point, but of course you never explain. But if you give me a half explanation, you may not even get the full mark, because when it comes to explanation, the examiner wants you to properly showcase your knowledge and explanation. So I'll give you an example. Let's say, what are two types of direct taxes here? Well, obviously we have income tax, annual tax, and corporation tax. Okay, again, I want to apologize in advance that my handwriting is terrible. So if you cannot read, I apologize, yes. But you can just hear me. So I wrote income tax and corporation tax. If you submit this paper right now in an exam for this 4-mark question, you can get 2 marks. It is possible to get 2 marks, but you will not get the 3rd, 4th mark. So can someone help me explain what is income tax? Who wants to try? Anyone want to give it a try? Give me an explanation what income tax means. If I just say, oh, income tax is tax paid to the government, how many marks do you think I write that? If I say income tax is tax paid to the government, can I get the 1 mark for explanation? No, you're shaking your head. Correct. Because technically, aren't all taxes paid to the government? So yeah, so again, you have to be very, that's why I'm trying to say is that, I mean, even with an explanation, you have to be correct. You have to be accurate. So this is obviously incorrect. It is not a tax paid by the government, but if I write this, income tax is tax, sorry. Okay, tax is, okay, let's erase this. Income tax is anyone wrote anything here? You watch it, I could come. Okay, hello. Income tax that the government charges on an income earned by individuals and businesses. Yeah, in fact, I will just say individuals, because businesses is a different tax. The businesses is corporation tax. So actually, I don't have to think about it. I'm going to take this person's answer, this Korean guy's answer, because his name is in Korean. Income tax is tax that a government takes charges on income earned by individuals. This is a fantastic definition of income tax. That's where you'll get your 3rd mark. Of course, corporation tax, you can say corporation tax is tax a government charges a business when they earn profit. Right? Because income tax is on your income. Corporation tax is not on corporations. Corporation tax is on a business profit. I make money, profit, right? Corporation is just a business, right? So yeah, right? So again, like I'm not teaching you guys what income tax is. I'm trying to teach you guys how to explain these questions, right? 2. Now, what if they give me this? Analyze 2 ways. They say like analyze 2 ways how 2 ways how a government can solve poverty. Okay, 6 marks. Okay, I'm gonna just clean this up a bit. In fact, what I should have done is write it larger so you guys can see. Okay, I'm gonna erase this. But anyways, what I've written here is analyze 2 ways how a government can solve poverty. So keyword here, poetry. No, let me just rewrite that. P-O-V-A-R-T-Y, poverty. So we can't use the same approach. 2 points, 2 explanation, because only 4 marks. It's 6 marks now. So what do you need to do? Let's say, okay, let's try our best. Okay, what are 2 ways how government can solve poverty? What do you guys think? Want to try? Maybe give me some 2 points. Let's say point form. I don't know. What are 2 ways how government can solve poverty? Okay, maybe you want to try? You guys are discussing something. Just try. Good question. Poverty is poor people. Yeah. Very poor people. How can government solve poor people crisis? That is actually a fantastic answer. I wouldn't recommend using this answer in your IGCSE because unfortunately, people in IGCSE, they want you to use their answers in the textbook. Yeah, that's actually more of a college and university level answer. Yeah, but that is true. That is true. They want to prioritize locals, you know? Yeah, yeah. About the jobs, how about with this? How about we can say this? We can increase education and training for the unskilled. So something similar to what you said for unskilled, for unemployed. How about unemployed? For the unemployed. So people who don't have jobs tend to be more poor, right? But so if the government spends money on education and training, don't you think they can help solve this case? So the people who are poor, they don't have a job, now they got more skill, they can get a job. So if you write this as 1 mark, so then I will explain. The government can use the taxpayers' money to fund programs to help train people to how to use AI or how to use computer, you know, something like that. So you get 1 mark here, 1 mark explanation. Now, how do you think you can get the 3rd mark? Elaboration. You can further elaborate. What I like to do is I give an example. For example, the government can allocate some taxpayers' money to fund an AI course to help train people, or they'll help train people who their skills has been obsolete already, you know. So for example, like nowadays, I know a lot. What is a skill last time was very popular, but now it's not so popular anymore? I'm not too sure. Okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say like 10 years down the road, maybe not 10 years, maybe 20 years. Maybe not so much in Malaysia, like maybe in UK and Europe and America, I foresee taxi drivers to be less because the self-driving car will be more important. So imagine my whole life, I just want to be a taxi driver. My whole life, I grew up, my dream job is to be a taxi driver. And suddenly AI, this self-driving car take over my job. So I'm screwed. So maybe the government can help train me to be a bus driver or I don't know, or is a job that if I'm a driver, I can be a train conductor or something like that, you know? So what I'm trying to say is that you give an example. That is your 3rd mark, right? So 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark, and then you repeat again. The 4th mark will be your 2nd way. So what is another way? What is another way how to solve solve poverty? Hello. Yes, I see people saying hello. I see another definition here, but income tax is a direct tax by government on wages, salaries, and other. Yeah. J is actually a great answer too. Yeah, I'm sorry I misread that. I didn't read that answer just now. Yeah. So other ways how government can solve poverty is they can well, I would like to say is they can increase the minimum wage law. What does that mean is that, you know, like in Malaysia, I think minimum wage is 1,007. If they increase it to like 1,008 or 1,009, more and more people will be more, yeah, they're more motivated to find work, you know? Yeah. Maybe they could give another one is they could subsidize public or merit goods. So government spend money to help pay for transportation, maybe a bit of healthcare, a bit of food. You know, like if you are below a certain income group, you get free vegetables or free chicken, free food, free healthcare. That's called government subsidies. Okay, guys, again, like I think I'm spending a bit more time on this. I need to go straight into the real thing. I'm sorry. But yeah, you get the idea, right? Okay, now last one. Discuss, justify. Okay, this one, I'm telling you, man. All right. Again, my A students, my B students, sometimes they don't get full mark because they make one careless mistake. The careless mistake is this. When they see discuss, justify, they give me what we call one-sided answers. Do not give me one-sided answers. You have to give both sides. For example, discuss whether inflation is good. And give me, oh, the inflation is great because price increase means demand increase, means the profit, whatever increase, blah, 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 great. Don't forget, you always need to make sure that you give me the pros and cons, the good and bad, the advantages and disadvantages, the yes and the no. Most discussed question in a section B will be 8 marks. So if you give me 2 points, 2 yes and 2 no, that's 4 points. And then you explain those 4 points, that's another 4 points. So 4 plus 4 is 8 marks. Correct, finish. If you give me 3 yes points, you need only to give me 1 no point. You give me 1 no point, you can 3 no point, you must give me at least 1 yes point. If you give me 5 yes, 6 yeses, or 4 no's, 5 no's, if you give me one-sided answers, the maximum marks we can get is only 6 marks max. Very important to note that. So what I'm trying to say is that whenever you give me an explanation, a discuss question, or even justify question, you have to give me both-sided answers. You have to give me a yes and a no. It can be balanced. It can be 4 marks of a yes, 4 marks of a no, like 4 marks of the advantages, 4 marks of the disadvantages of inflation, right? Or you can say 6 marks worth of why inflation is bad, and the last 2 marks is why inflation is good. It is also possible. Okay? Cool. So what's going to happen now? All of you guys are now going to be exam teachers. You're now going to be a teacher for today. You're going to now mark my work. Yes. So, again, for those who are online, I think YouTube you can see, TikTok may not, but hopefully you can see. But what's going to happen is this. Here are some exam questions. You can see, right? At the back, can see? And this is my answer. All you need to do is this. Just tell me, is it what? How many marks? That's all. So, the first question is this. Identify 2 internal economies of scale. So the key question word we're looking at is identify. Okay? It is 2 marks. And this is my answer. Purchasing economies of scale and marketing economies of scale. Okay, let's assume that EOS, I write full lah, okay? Alright? So I'll give you 30 seconds. Think about it. How many marks would you give if I write this answer? For those who are online, the question is this. Identify 2 internal economies of scale. It is a 2-mark question, and my answer is this. Purchasing economies of scale and marketing economies of scale. Literally, I just wrote that. Can I get 2 marks? Or is it 1? Or is it 0? Think about it. 10 more seconds. Please don't be strict. Aisha, Hafiz, Rasea has just joined. Welcome. Guys, if you got... Okay, now that's us. 2 marks. Jay gives 2 marks. Really? Wow, Jay. So nice, Jay. 2 marks. Okay, guys, what do you guess? How many marks would you give? 0. Oh, you haven't learned that, so you don't know. Okay. 2? 0? How many marks would you give? Oh, my answer's there. Can you see? Let me zoom in. Let me zoom in a bit more. Yeah. Yeah, I've written my answers already, so you're marking it. 2? Really? All 2? Wow, really 2? Wow. Okay. Not sure. Have you learned this topic yet? You've learned this, right? But you just don't. But you may not remember the topic well. Or... Say again. Yeah, correct. Yeah. Yeah, 2, 2. I see a lot of 2 marks there. Good. Yes, it's 2 marks because why? It's just point form. Purchasing economy scale is a type and marketing economy is 2. So this is 2 marks. Correct. Nah, that's going to the explanation already. Now, you know what? Great. I'm glad you asked this. Now, let's change it up a bit. Let's say I say explain 2 internal economy scale. If you explain, it will no longer be 2 marks already. No way. It will be 4. Then you must say purchasing economy scale and marketing is 2 marks. Then you explain. Purchasing economy scale, okay, I explain. Purchasing economy scale is gain when a business does bulk buying and obtains a discount. This is your explanation, and that's how you get your 3rd mark. Okay, so I'm giving you 2 types of question. Identify 2 internal economy scale. I wrote here purchasing EOS and marketing EOS, 2 marks. Now I'm changing the question. Explain 2 internal economy scale, 4 marks. So you just continue, you write purchasing EOS and marketing EOS, 2 marks, and then you explain. Or you can say purchasing economy scale and you explain that. Then next sentence, marketing economy scale and you explain that. Also can. It's up to you. There's no right or wrong. I like to write purchasing economy scale, comma, this is gain when a business does bulk buying and obtains a discount. Full stop. Next sentence, marketing economy scale. What is marketing economy? How do you explain that? Well, there are 2 ways how I can say is that you, the first one is that I won't explain it here. I won't write it down, but I can explain it. Is gain when you do your own marketing instead of hiring another third-party company. You pay someone else to do your marketing. So you save money by doing it in-house. Or let's say you have a delivery truck to deliver your items and you put branding on that. And whenever you deliver items, that's marketing. You're giving free marketing. For example, if you buy McDonald's, if you go McDonald's, a Grab driver comes, right, and delivers. So Grab driver is technically promoting Grab on the bike. Last time does McDonald's have their own delivery? They used to. They still do, right? Okay, so if you order McDonald's from the McDonald's shop and McDonald's, the my God, the motorbike comes and with the McDonald's branding, that is marketing economy scale. So they're doing marketing for you, right? But if you pay someone else like Grab driver, let's say you have a restaurant, you're a very small company, you pay Grab, the motorbike comes, and the Grab, the jacket is green color, right? Grab. So that's not really promoting the shop. So that's not really marketing EOS, okay? But I think in textbook, they will explain that, oh, you do your own marketing in your own team. You're using the same people in the same company who know your company very well. So if you know the business so well, you're more likely to market to the correct people to get a better return. If you pay someone else to do, let's say, promote BAC, and the guy is like, what's BAC? I don't know anything about BAC. They may simply promote, they may target the wrong people. You may be losing money instead of getting money. Okay? Okay? Cool. All right, yeah. Okay, let's move on. So, next question here. Okay, so it's an explanation question. Explain 2 methods of protection in international trade. So this one maybe you're not learning because I think this is topic 6. Yeah. Okay, so keyword here is explain. 4 marks. And here is my answer. I'm going to zoom in a bit for you guys to see. So the question is this, guys, for online. Explain 2 methods of protection in international trade. Ooh. Here's my answer. The first method is tariff. Tariff is a tax on imported products which increases the selling price and makes them more expensive. My English is not good. Makes them more and making them more expensive. No, it's okay. Okay, I take it back. And making them more expensive. The second method is quota. The quota will make local products cheaper compared to imported ones. How many marks? 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4? Okay, I'll repeat again. Explain two methods of protection in international trade. That's the question. And here's my answer, guys. The first method is tariff. Tariff is a tax on imported products which increases the selling price and making them more expensive. The second method is quota. Quota will make local products cheaper compared to imported ones. Ooh, confirm 4, right? I think it has to be 4, right? Right. You may not know this one yet, so don't worry. Okay, give you guys about 30 seconds. Oh, I think TikTok got some messages. Can you maybe scroll down a bit? I see some messages on TikTok. I just can't see here. I thought I saw some marks mentioned. 2, 2, okay, I think that was before, right? Ariel, hi Ariel. Hello, Korean person. I'm not sure that 2 marks, Ariel. Is it for this question or the previous question? Because, sorry, just now the chat was frozen. So let me know, Ariel. Is this a new one or an old one? What was that? Eva Wong. Oh my god, I can't read. What's wrong with my eyes today? Avian Wong. Avian Wong. 2 marks. 2 out of 4? Or was that the old question? Okay, wait. Okay, guys, how many marks would you give this one? 4? 4? 4? 3. Why 3? Very good. Yeah, I purposely wanted to trick you guys here. It's a 3 mark. This is 3. Why? So 1 mark for tariff. This is your point. So let's say you submit the question. First method is tariff. And you submit your paper. You can still get 1 mark. Point form. Then the explanation. This is 2. This is a proper definition. Quota 3. This one is not a proper explanation what quota is. Yes, it will make local products, but it never explain what quota is. 1. The Korean guy gave me 1 mark. Oh my god, please. You're lucky you're not here. If not, I'm going to ask you to go out. 4 marks, 4 marks. Okay, you all be my teachers, yeah. So, okay lah. Year 10, term 1, you give me this answer. Okay lah, close one eye lah. I'll give you 4 marks, sure. Maybe, I mean, a quota indirectly will make local products cheaper. Why? You never explain why. So a quota is a limit on the supply of goods and services coming into the country. This is a proper explanation of quota. Quota is a limit. Yes, question? So if you give an example, technically an example can also be an explanation. So yeah, you can. I will need an example of your example. Yeah. So what is an example trying to say? Are you saying it like a quota? For example, you can say this. Like last time they shipped in 100,000 cars. Now they ship in only 500,000. Like if you explain, you know what this I'm trying to say? Like before the quota, every month Germany brings in 100,000 BMW. Now got quota, they limit. Now they only bring in 500,000 cars. Yes, that one you can. But of course, you need to figure out how to explain this properly. You can give an example. This makes sense. Because it says explain 2 methods. Yeah, but you need to explain the method. Like this is the example. I would rather give an example. I'd rather explain. The example one, maybe you can leave it for more of the 6 marker, which is usually going to be the analyze and describe. The 6 marker, which is usually question C with this in the section B. Or in case study, session A, they will literally say, give examples. Explain with example or something like that. Then yes. Okay? Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is, okay, I gotta read that now. What is this one? J. It is a tax limit to the number of import goods entering a country. So that is tariff, correct? That is tariff. Well done. Not quota. Quota is just a limit on the number of items coming into a country. Right? So to further explain, if you lower the supply of the item coming in, what will happen to price usually? Correct. So yeah. So technically, it will make local products. It looks cheaper because the price of local product is still the same. But now the imported products, your BMW car, now price goes up. So the Proton and Prodor cars are now, it looks cheaper comparatively. That's how it works, okay? So very important to make sure that you need to, this is where the teacher needs to be very, because they will follow a market scheme. If you write this, even though technically it's correct, it will make local products cheaper, but it's not what quota really means, okay? All right, last one. Then we're going to go through, yes, question? I wouldn't recommend it because it's a 4 mark, because I realize that sometimes people can take a long time to give an example. But yes, you can. As long it makes sense. Again, I want you to see it. And then, yeah. But if your example is anything along like, before they ship in 100,000 cars, now they're only shipping in, is that right? 500,000? No, it's 50,000, right? I mean, let's say half. My bad. Right, it's less now, right? Yeah, it's less. Yeah. Okay, all right, here we go. We've got a graph here, and I'll be spending a lot of time talking about graphs. How are we doing for time? 2:20. Okay, I'm a bit behind schedule now. All right, just gotta speed it up. Here's the question, and I will draw a graph for you guys, and hopefully you guys can see it. Okay, the question is this: analyze using a demand and supply diagram the effects of a higher quality product on the market for jewelry. Oh wow. Okay. I'm going to draw a graph for you guys. And drawing graphs is very important, and I will explain more about it later. Okay. Essentially, for those who can't see online, what I have done is, the question is this: analyze using a demand and supply diagram. Keyword here is what? Analyze the effects of a higher quality products on the market for jewelry. I drew my diagram. My demand curve is shifting to the right. And I believe everything is labeled correctly. So my question is this: how many marks is this, guys? If you just submit this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, take 30 seconds and think about it. Okay? So question is analyze using a demand and supply diagram if the effects of higher quality products on market for jewelry. Meaning you're selling jewelry, you have better quality products now. So what happened to the supply and demand? I drew here my demand curve shifts to the right. And everything is labeled. Only, I just drew the graph, demand shift to the right. Okay, those who are here, because I don't think they can see exactly, so they may not be able to give me an answer. You definitely studied this. How many marks would you give? Yeah. Anyone want to try? Can. No. I mean, if you want to write fully priced, trust me, if you write P and not price, examiner minus marks, no way. I'm 99% sure they won't do that. No. So different textbooks have different styles. So you can write P0, P1. So what's important, right, is that when you draw a graph, it has to be accurate. Like if you write here Q, here must be P. You're gonna write here Q and then P, E. Then it doesn't make sense, right? Yeah. So I've seen before put P1 and P2. I've seen QE and Q1 can also. So how many marks? Quick. 4? 3. Why 3? No explanation and no original. Okay. Now how many marks? 4. Okay. Okay. Again, I don't think they'll penalize you for the 0, but yeah, it'd be great. I mean, if you want to make it all full, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm glad you're not my teacher. How many marks? 4? 4? Yeah. I think this is a 4-mark question. Why? She said it again. There's no explanation. So when it comes to graph drawing, if it's 6-mark question, this is how they break it down. 4 marks is graph, 2 marks is you have to explain the reason why the demand curve shifts to the right. So yeah, and by the way, my graph is correct. If you, let's say, label wrong lah, miss P, you forgot to draw the P to P1, you will lose marks. So this is my explanation here. Having higher quality products will encourage people to buy more jewelry. This will shift the demand curve from D to D1, causing price and quantity to increase from P to P1 and Q to Q1. Now, if you realize that I did a lot of explanation of explaining all the movements, this is something that is very highly encouraged. But the most important thing is this. You explain why. Because it will encourage people to buy more jewelry. Hence why the demand curve will shift. Okay? This is the most important. I like to get my students to actually talk about the shifts from where to where. So I like to get my students to explain this, to mention the shifting of demand curve, the price increase, the quantity increase, the new equilibrium point shifting. It's a great habit to have. But the most important thing I must say is you must give me why. Why is it that if you have higher quality products, the demand curve will shift? Because here, it will encourage people to buy more jewelry. Because high quality products, more likely to buy. I will definitely buy a better quality thing than a less, right? And then the next one is you illustrate this will shift the demand curve. Okay, causing a price. This is I think it's important to mention still, but not must mention. Okay, but yeah. What I'm trying to show you guys today is that when it comes to a 6-mark graph question, 4 marks is graph, 2 marks is explanation. Okay, don't just write. Don't just draw a graph. And 4 marks to draw a graph is a lot, guys. You gotta label, shift correctly, draw your arrows, your lines, all that. It takes some time. And labeling of diagram. Yes, labeling is very important too. Your A and B, your P's and Q's, okay? Sorry guys, one more question. And then you guys do the work. Okay, so this one's a bit long. This is a discuss question. It's an 8-mark question. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna read the whole one. Unless you guys can see. Can they see? Can the TikTok people see the screen? I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, here's the question. Again, this is probably something you may not be doing because you've not studied yet, but this is the question. Discuss question. So keyword here, we all know it's a discuss. And then later on, I'll tell you where I'm going to get the marks. Discuss whether or not protection in international trade benefits an economy. Ooh, what a tough... I chose this question because this is something that's this is not so easy question. This is more of quite of a challenging one. It's a bit of a mouthful. It's a bit of a high-level question, I would say. Discuss whether or not protection in international trade benefits an economy. Wow, what a great question. So this is my answer. Give you guys maybe 2 minutes to read, to digest, and then you give me 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. Okay? For those who are online, I'm sorry, this is a bit of a long answer. You may not be able to see it. But I'll explain how, I'll read my answer later, then I'll explain how I gave those marks. Okay? Jay, you can read, huh? Good, yeah. So here's a tip. You do not need to give me a definition. You do not need to straightaway define protection. You don't need to do that. You straightaway tell me the pros and cons, or like you said, you're actually on the right track, Jay. I don't want to say it because I don't want to tell the people answer, but yeah, Jay, you're actually on the right track. But you do not need to define to get the mark. I'll show you later. Okay, guys, how many marks? What do you think? How many things is 0? Good. Because you give me 0 or 1. Doors there, please leave. Yeah. 2, 3, 4. 5 marks. No 5, so all more than 5. 6 marks. 7, 8. Okay, good. I'm glad no one gave me 8 because it's not an 8-mark question. I actually forgot how many marks this is, so let's mark it. I actually forgot already. And I just did this, I did this quite some time ago. Okay, having trade protection can benefit the economy as it will help protect. Okay, so I'm going to read my answer, yeah. Having trade protection can benefit the economy as this will help protect local infant industries from foreign competition. This is 1 mark. This is 1 mark. This is 1 mark for point. So how do I explain that? Then I explain trade barriers will make imported products more expensive, so local products. Yeah, so this is my 2nd mark. Because I explain is that I even give an example. Trade barriers will make imported products more expensive, so local products will be cheaper. And this will help protect the local infant industry. You all know what local infant industries mean? If you don't, please ask, yeah? Guys, you don't know? Okay. Guys, if any one of you online, Xander gave 6. I think it's 6. I have a feeling it's a 6. I'm going to find out. So guys, if you do not know something, if I'm reading an answer, if it's an econs term, you don't know, please ask. So what is local infant industry? Local means local. Infant means baby. So small companies that just started out. Startups. Maybe 1 year, 2 years. They are nowhere going to compete with the big boys. So I need to protect them. The government needs to protect them. Yeah? It's like this. If I buy a BMW car, where is the money going to go? Back to Germany. But I buy a Proton car, money will stay in Malaysia. So the government wants to protect Proton and not protect Germany, BMW. Okay? It will also helps ban and restrict harmful and demerit goods with embargoes. Great. I like this answer here. As 3. And my explanation is this will maintain a living standard. So, okay, great. This is 4. Okay, I'll read my answer. It will help ban and restrict harmful and demerit goods coming into the country with embargoes. So I even purposely mentioned the protectionism policy thingy item, which is trade barriers and embargoes. Again, if you don't know what those are, please let me know. And then that's my point, and I explain how. How will embargo help restrict? What is the benefit of having embargo? Because if you embargo as a total ban, if you ban all the harmful demerit goods, this will maintain the standard living and the social factors of the economy. Great. Standard living better, maybe healthier, social factors, there'll be less crime. So it's good. There's 4 marks already, huh? So I think, Xander, you should be correct. It's looking like a 6 mark. Let's have a look. Having trade protection means local government will be collecting more tax revenue. That's 5. Because it benefits more, that's the point. Now, why? Why? I haven't explained yet. I haven't explained why collecting more tax revenue will benefit. Let's see. This means there are more funds for public expenditure, so locals can benefit such as healthcare education. Fantastic. 6 marks. So yeah, Xander is correct. It is 6 out of 8. So what's missing? Can I give another a pro point, an advantage point? What do you think? Should I say, protectionism? Actually, I'm running out of good things already to say. What should I say? Should I give another advantage? Should I give another yes, that it will help? Exactly. If I submit this answer, I can get 6 marks because The maximum marks for one-sided answers is 6. So this is the max already. I have to give the, on the other hand, the disadvantage. But trade protection may harm the economy. For example, it will limit the variety of goods and services coming to a country. Imagine if Malaysia suddenly bans all the cars and only just Proton Peruda, then every single one is driving a Proton Peruda. It's so boring. There's no variety of goods and services. You can say, if we have protectionism from the international, the local companies will feel very, I'm trying to look for a word. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They will not be motivated to do better. You know, like there's no competition. They can say, without any protectionism, competition will be reduced, and this will limit the motivation to make businesses strive for better, to provide better, good quality products. It's like you buy my car, you don't like my car, too bad lah. What other car are you gonna buy? Only my car you can buy. Who cares? You know, something like that. Okay. So again, what I'm trying to teach you guys is that make sure you don't have one-sided answers like this. So here I need to have a but or on the other hand. Okay? Yeah. Now you can stop at the 4 mark here. You can stop here. You can stop. Let me put a red line. You can stop here. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. How do you get the 5, 6, 7, 8? You start already talk about the disadvantages already. Then you say, then give me 2 points of no. So the no can be no motivation for the business to do well because there's less competition and less variety goods services. Those are 2 points. Those are 5th mark, 6th mark. Then you explain 7, 8 can also. Okay, I'm done. Now you do work. Okay. All right, it's already 3 o'clock, so I'm not slightly behind schedule, guys. Okay, so usually what I like to do is I like to really talk a bit about each topic, but I don't think I have time now. I'm gonna straight give you a question to do already. So let's do a graph drawing question. Wait. Oh, we do a PPC one. I'm gonna do PPC and we're gonna do supply and demand. So PPC, now when it comes to graphs, there's 2 major graphs that always ask you to draw. Production possibility curve and supply and demand. You have to master that. Confirm they will ask you this. If they never ask you to draw, they will ask you a multiple choice. Confirm. So you have to be an expert in drawing graphs. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, who thinks their PVC drawing graph is less than a 5 here? Meaning you guys know how to draw PPC, right? Okay, I'm gonna straight away test you already, yeah? And then I'll do it with you. So I need you guys to grab paper. If you don't have paper, let me know. I'll get my team to help you guys. I want you to draw. And those who are at home, our guys want you to also draw. Hello, Hayes. What is trade barrier and embargo? Very good question. A trade barrier is something that prevents imports coming in. A barrier. You're preventing items coming in. You're either preventing or you limit. So an embargo is a total ban. You say 0, no, cannot even come in. Right? A quota is like a limit, like, oh, you only can ship in very little amount every month or every year. But embargo is like the extreme case. It's a ban. I ban the item. Okay? So an embargo is an example of a trade barrier. Good question. Okay? The question is this, guys, and then you guys will draw. So analyze using a production possibility curve. So again, what's the key question word here? Analyze. And it's 6 marks, huh? So what does that mean? I don't know. The effect of a decrease in the size of a country's labor force on its economy. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to draw. I'll just draw the... For those who are at home, if you want to draw your production possibility curve, question, this is the question. Using a PPC, analyze using the PPC the effect of a decrease in the size of a country's labor force. So what will happen? What will happen to the PPC? Decrease in the size of a country's labor force. Guys, if you those are online, if you do not want to explain, if you don't want to draw, you can just type it in the chat and like you explain what is the movement or the shift or the whatever it is. You can do that, and I can then tell you whether you're right or wrong. Dahlia, correct. Well done. Of course, I cannot see whether you're labeled or that, but you are absolutely, that is correct. If you do that, you're on the right track. Good job, Dahlia. Thanks, Dahlia, for the follow. Okay, so what do you guys think? Well done. It's a shift inwards. So I will draw my PPC shifting inwards like that. So again, I'll label it PPC and PPC1. I'll draw some arrows. Now, what do you put in your X and Y axis here? What do you guys usually put? Yeah, actually, that is probably the best one, I would say. I like to put capital goods. And consumer goods. You can also put good X, good Y. Or you give me an example like cars, trucks, also can. It does not matter. But what's important is you label. You have something there. So the generic one, the official one is capital goods, consumer goods for macro. You know, we talk about macro, the country. You can put good X or good Y if you cannot think of anything. Or give me an example. Apple, orange. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, is a PPC curve shift inwards? You label correctly. If you want, you can also put point A, point B also like that. Also can. So if I submit this, how many marks would you think you can get? That's the max. 4. Where is my explanation? Then you explain. I'm not going to write it down, but I'll just verbally say lah. Then you say. So the first mark, you explain why, right? A drop, a decrease in, when there, a decrease in the labor force means there is less employees to produce capital and consumer goods. This is shown by a shift in the PPC curve from point A to point B or PPC to PPC1. Oopsie, I wrote here PPC. Wrong. It was PPC1. Like you must mention it, right? So I say when there's less labor force, there will be less production of goods and services in the economy. Or there'll be less production of capital and consumer goods. Or good X, good Y. You know, you can actually mention the item in the X and Y axis. This is, then how do you get the 6 mark? This is shown by the movement, which is a shift from point A to point B inwards, or a shift to the left. This can be considered to the left. I let's say inwards, a shift of the PPC inwards from PPC to PPC1, like that. The stream is good. Thank you, Xander. Thank you very much. Guys, if you guys haven't, yeah, I'm glad that you're giving us some feedback, which is good and bad. Every year we improve. This is something we do every year. It's also feedback for me because every year I do things differently as well. I try to make things better. Like last year, 2 years ago, I didn't even do the I get you to answer. I straight away did a bit of teaching, and then my feedback is that, Cher, I just want to learn how to answer exam questions. I don't want to learn all this, so I improve myself every time. So feedback is good. So thank you guys for giving us feedback, and it's also feedback for the rest of the team here to know how we can make our IGCSEflix better as well. Okay, good. All right, next question. We're gonna move on, which is a very important topic, supply and demand. I'm going to talk a bit about the supply and demand graph because I still have some year 11s to struggle to know. The question is this, Cher, how do I know whether it's a demand shift or a supply shift sometimes? Do you guys face that sometimes? Maybe not. Maybe if you guys don't, maybe you guys, actually I know very well it's a demand shift and supply shift. Fantastic, it's great. Now, here's the tip. If you must think from a perspective of a buyer, consumer, or customer. If the factor affects the buyer, the consumer, or the customer, it's a demand shift. For example, income tax affects consumers, not the business. If it affects the seller, the business, the producer, it shifts the supply curve. For example, the government changes the amount of subsidies they can give. Subsidies affect who affects first? The business. So it's a supply shift. If the government, if suddenly they say, increase in advertising. So, like McDonald's, they do more at McDonald's ads. So people will buy more McDonald's. So that is a demand factor. Costs of production. Suddenly now wood becomes cheaper. So now I can produce more tables and chairs, furniture. So that affects supply. All right. So I think this one comes with practice. You just need to, of course, you can just memorize everything, but it's really all, I really want to train you guys and really educate you guys to say that memorizing is not all that. You have to really understand. So you think to yourself, okay, the question says, there has been a change of, suddenly the government has now has given more salary to all the employees. I don't know why lah. So, so how does it affect the demand and supply? Well, if people give it more money, who does it affect mostly first? It's the consumers. People will end up buying more things. So it's a demand factor. Okay? And then of course, it will shift to the right. That's the second thing. Suddenly, there has been a new law and regulation that businesses can now operate only from last time it was business can operate from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. only. They can produce, so this affects the business because now the business cannot produce as much anymore. So this is laws and regulation. This is different. So again, sometimes you just need to think, okay, I'm now in the shoes of this person. Am I a consumer or a customer? Who would this affect? I'll give you an example here. I don't have examples. I do have examples. I have to give the example. Okay, so first step is you must identify whether it's demand or supply. Second step is you must identify whether it's a leftward shift or a rightward shift. The second step is very easy. You need to think, is it a good thing? If it's a good thing, you shift to the right. If it's a bad thing, you shift to the left. Very easy. Okay? So, I'll give you an example. Draw and label a supply and demand diagram to showcase a company receiving a government grant. So, step one, is it a demand or supply factor? Government grants affects who? Buyer, consumer, customer, or seller, business, producer? Government grant. Or do you not know what a government grant is? Good job. Yeah. A grant is given to businesses. Right? It's like free money. I give you a grant, $10,000, free money to start a business like that. So, it is a supply. And it's free money, so it's a good thing, right? So it shifts to the right. So you draw, shift to the right. Okay? Yeah. So you see, it's basically, okay. So why am I showing you this is that if you know step 1 answer, your chances of getting it wrong is now half. Because why? Whenever you draw a diagram, it's only going to be these 4 options. Either going to be demand shift to the right, or demand shift to the left, or supply shift to the right, or supply shift to the left. So if you read the question, you don't know. I don't know whether demand or supply. I don't know whether shift left or shift right. And you read the question, oh, government grant, I know this affects supply. Then you know already it's either going to be D or C. Then you think about it. If I give government grant, if I'm a business and I receive a government grant, won't I be happy? Yeah. So supply curve shift to the right. Then you draw like that. Understand? Okay. Here's the question. Using a demand and supply diagram, analyze the effect of removing an indirect tax. We are removing an indirect tax on the market for the product. I want you to draw. And again, keyword here is analyze. I do not need to highlight this anymore because you will know it's a 6-mark question. So what does that mean? You need to draw and you must have a 2. So drawing is 4 marks. And when you explain, it's also 2 marks. Okay? So for those who are at home, if you do not want to draw, just tell me. Is it a supply curve or demand curve shift? And then is it a shift to the left or shift to the right? Now, of course, you do not know what the indirect tax is. I can explain, Xander. And if I explain when I give the answer away? Okay, I won't explain 100%, but I'll just say an indirect tax is a tax on goods and services when you buy. When you buy goods and services, you pay that. A direct tax is a tax on income. Indirect tax on goods and services. That's all I'm going to say. This one I think is a bit of a tricky one because it's about taxes. All right, wrong. M heart. Unfortunately, that is not correct. Eventually it will, but if you draw that graph, it's not correct. But eventually it will lead to this. Eventually. Yeah. So M is not correct. So it has to be the other one, right? I think so. Guys, if you don't know what to draw, just tell me what curve is shifting and where. So the question is, analyze the effect of removing an indirect tax. Removing an indirect tax on the market of a product. Indirect tax. Supply and demand. Removing it. Shift left or shift right. Oh, okay? All right. So, first step. We must... Oh, guys. I'm going to change it a bit. This is actually step 2. This is step 3. You know what step 1 is? Draw supply and demand template. This is something to help the weaker students. For those who really terrible at drawing. Step 1 is you draw a supply and demand template. A template is this. This is the starting point. Every graph starts this. You literally do this 1,000 times. You know, like math, you write 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. This. Okay, I don't know what equilibrium price. This is wrong. I don't know who did that. This is quantity. My bad. Why? Because that, remember I told you, it's either going to be demand shift here, or here, or here, or here, supply shift, right? So what I'm trying to say is, this is the first step you should start with. And then you tell me what's demand shift or demand, you know, understand? This is more for the weaker ones if you do not know how to draw. Okay? Okay, so let me know. How do I draw? This is where you start. Demand curve shift to the right. Is that correct, Xander? Is that correct? What do you guys think? Indirect taxes. First step. Oh, well, second step now. What do you guys think? Demand and supply shift. Demand shift? Supply shift? Not sure. You think it's demand? Supply? We'll go, okay? Demand? Demand, 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 demand. Not sure. Supply. You think it's supply? Indirect taxes affect the business. It's a supply shift. Indirect taxes affects cost of production. Now, why do you say it is demand? Because the business then decides to lower the price and then we benefit. But it affects the business first. Direct tax affects consumers. Indirect taxes affects producers' businesses. So removing indirect tax will actually lower cost of production. And this affects the business, hence it's a supply shift. Next question. Left or right shift? Removing. Usually, will business celebrate? Oh man, I gotta pay. I gotta pay less now. Oh no. Or yes, I gotta pay less now. Yeah, shifted right. Fantastic. So demand. So I'm gonna draw properly, right? So again, my template is PQ, dotted line, my equilibrium point. Usually I like to put point A as my equilibrium point. Doesn't really matter. I see people put E. Up to you. PQ. Supply shift to the right. Yes. We're removing. So now it's cheaper. So supply shift to the right. And look at this. Now that it's cheaper because the price falls, my quantity increases now. Of course, you can explain. Right? So you can say, moving an indirect tax will lower the cost of production of goods and services. That's your 1 mark. Well, your 5th mark. This will shift the supply curve from S to S1, causing a new equilibrium point from point A to point B, like that. How do I know which line is demand or supply? That one is basics. Just remember D downward, the range is demand curve. If you remember one, you remember the other one. So D is down, sloping down. That's how I remember it. S, supply, high, going up high. Yeah. I mean, the proper explanation is demand, because price and quantity has an inverse relationship. That's why they go opposite directions. But that's a bit more complicated. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry I can't help you there, Korean girl. How about you just remember demand curve is downward sloping, is D for down. So if you know D, then S is up. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Let's move on. We're going to do one more question and then we're going to take a quick break. Yeah. So the next question is about economies of scale, which is another big topic. I realized something. Again, 10 years I've been looking at, I think I looked at, since early 2000s, I've seen the IGCSE papers. I realized economies of scale is a great question examiners love to ask. Wait, M says, so indirect tax always affects the business first, eventually the customers demand. Yes, correct. Because if you realize, price fall, right? I draw green, price fall, then people buy more, then demand will increase M. But initially, it will affect the business first. Yes, correct. Indirect tax affects businesses. Well, yes, that is correct. Okay, so again, you can take a photo. This is just from the textbook. By the way, for those all of you are here, please take back my notes. I spent a lot of time building the notes. You get all the answers here. I'm sure you know the difference between internal, external, and DEOS, because I'm not here to explain. I'm not here to teach you guys. I don't have time, but I'm going to teach you guys how to answer questions, and I want you guys to write your answers and then for me to mark it. That's what is most important. Very powerful. Okay? Yeah, so I'm going to skip all this. And we're going to do question D only. Again, if we have time, we'll go back and do more questions, okay? So, here's another tip. You don't really need to read the article to answer this question. It is not section A. Section A, you must use the article. If the article, you know section A, right, is the case study, right? The question case study, let's say you talk about, Singapore's GDP has dropped. And then explain, blah, 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 blah. And then the question says like, explain 2 reasons why Singapore GDP dropped. Then you must use the case study. But if the question says, explain 2 reasons why GDP might drop. They never mention Singapore. You don't need to use the article in a way, just letting you know. So here, technically, the question says, discuss whether the average cost of production always decreases when a firm increases total output that it produces. Technically, you don't need to use this. But if you read that, it can help spark your creativity. Yeah. Okay? So, keyword here, discuss whether the average cost of production will always decrease when you increase production. So maybe I'll do a bit of basic first. I'm sure you all know what economies of scale means, right? Economies of scale, the definition is this. This is a full-fledged 2-mark answer. If the question says define EOS, this is a good definition. When a firm increases its production and results in a lower average cost. The more you produce, the cheaper it gets. The more you produce, your average cost falls. Very important, huh? Average cost is your AC, not cost. It's average cost. That's the definition. So for these questions, we don't have to use the article for application like business studies. Yes, Xander. Yeah, correct. Xander, so business studies, the question will say, did company A, B, and C explain how company A, B, and C does primary research like that? Then you must use the article. You must give answers from an article. But if the question says like this, explain 2 types of primary research. Don't need to use the article. Okay? And for section B, most of the time, you don't need to use any article. You don't just explain general. Okay? So here the question is this. Will the average cost always fall when you increase production? Will it always fall? Okay? So again, I'll give you guys 3 minutes, 2 minutes. You can write a full, you can do point form. Yes, question? Try. Okay, how about I will leave it like that? But I don't think you will know lah. If you see this, you won't know. So yeah. You have my notes. The notes. Go and look for topic 3, and then look for it. You try. You can do point form first. For those who are at home, we are doing this question. I'll zoom in a bit. Discuss whether the average cost of production always decreases when a firm increases the total output that it produces. This is a great question to do actually. And again, economies of scale is a very common topic. I like to think. I'm only going to pick common topics that I feel that will come up. And this will be the last question before I take a quick 5-minute break. For those who are at home, if you want to give me point form to the answer, also I can tell you right now whether you're on the right track. That's good. Does management and bureaucracy affect costs? Zoom, that's a great question. Does management and bureaucracy affect costs? Yeah, it does. But again, that's very general, right? I need to know specific, like, what is it? What do you mean? Like how? Like I need to know the examples. Maybe you can talk more about management. Bureaucracy, less. So I'll give you a tip, Dizun. There is management, this economies of scale. What does that mean? Okay, is that, you guys need more time? You guys okay? Maybe 1 minute, 1 minute thing? Try. Guys, today I'm not going to penalize you for anything wrong. Let's try. For example, you guys there, I'm very happy that you are trying something you have not studied yet, which is great, fantastic. And then imagine when you go back to school, you'll be ahead. Yes, these, yeah, correct. So, yeah, your example is correct. Yes, good. Because the company is very large, right? It's such a big, and this can affect costs. You are right. Because time is money, right? Too much layers for the action taken. Yep. Because there's too many people, slow decision making, and then you just waste time. And then time is money, right? Yep. Good. These are great examples. Melancholia23, thank you for following the host. Host is you, is it? Host is out. Is it if you have to follow our channel as host, right? Yeah, I was like, who's the host? Me? Am I host? Do you have my channel? Oh. Okay, time, because I want to take my break already. I need to go to the toilet. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, so I want to, guys, by the way, anything from now on, I am only getting answers from you guys, so you tell me answers. So answer. Who wants to shout something? I want to try? Okay, you know what? I'm gonna straight away use Dizun's answers here. He straight away started talking about the no already. He said that it will not always increase. No. Because DEOS. I'm using short form in exam. You may want to write proper sentences. So here's a little pro tip here. In a full sentence, if you want to write the word this economies of scale 2 times, the first time you write full. This economies of scale. Then the second time you can write short form. The examiner you the first time write DEOS, this economies of scale. Then the second time you write DEOS, that one can. Just like me, I'm just using saving time. Can occur. So the first this economy scale he talked about is managerial or management this economy scale, which is both. Managerial DEOS can occur when. So what is management this economy scale? Anyone want to take a guess? Yeah, there's so many teachers, so many managers, so many layers, decision when there are many, oh my god, what happened here? Any layers in a company that leads to slow decision making. And you can say messages can be lost at time as well. I'm just going to keep it short because of time as well, yeah? You understand? So the mark I gave here is managerial, this economy is 1 mark here, and then leads to slow decision making is 2 marks here. What else do you have, Dizun? Do you have another one here? slow decision-making layers. Yeah, I think that's great. That's a great explanation. All right. Yeah, these are great. Okay, so anyone want to give me another no? Just curious. I mean, I'll use the other one. I like labor as a cognitive skill is great. So labor, DEOS can occur when many employees, how do I say this? They feel demotivated and bored, BORED, due to, because they say increase in production, right? So due to mass production. Usually when you do mass production, right, you're kind of like doing the same job. I'm left-handed. I keep pressing the thing. Sorry. Production. Because usually in mass production, like say you're building in a big warehouse, you're making, let's say, this water bottle. Then maybe your job is to screw on the cap. So every day you screw him like 10,000. Every the bottle come, screw. You know, like or you press one button, or you press one button, or you hammer something. It's damn boring. So mass production, you do a lot. You do one job one time. It can lead to this economies of scale, because your company is very big and there's so many employees, and each employee they just feel so demotivated. Okay, so again, here we have 3 marks, and bored due to mass production is 4 marks. Great. You can you give me another disadvantage? Can you? Is it possible? Can you give me another no? Is it possible? So yeah, so so the answer is yes, you can give me another one. You can. For the 5th and 6th mark. And then the 7, 8 is a yes. But I like to do a nice balanced answer. So, but then I say, but it can lead to economies of scale. And then you give me 2 examples here. I don't know, let's pick one. Who wants to pick? I think technical is easy good because mass production. Technical is using machines, and you use machines to mass produce, and then you can get your average cost to be cheaper. So I like technical. I think technical will be great, right? Technical EOS is when a company, sorry guys, utilizes machines in mass production. And you can say advanced, I'm going to get more complicated here. Advanced technology can lower costs of production. Yeah, I think it's a great answer here. So again, technical EOS is your 5th mark. And I mentioned about lowering cost of production, right? That's a 6 mark. So we need another one. Let's pick. Wait, that was my answer. I did say I'm not using my answer. I need to use you guys' answers. What else? Machines can be overcrowded, automated. That one could be managerial in a way. Is there another one where about machine breakdown? No. By the way, what I'm showing you here, I'm sure, because my textbook can be different with your textbook can be different. I know some textbooks don't have this fancy word, agglomeration. There's an external one, by the way. So again, sometimes your textbook may have other stuff you can use. Can someone give me an internal economy scale to talk about? Did you say something? Purchasing? Okay, tell me about purchasing. How can we use purchasing here? How purchasing EOS can be gained? How? So you tie in because the question says what? Decreasing when the increase total, when it increase. So you say can be gained when they bulk by raw materials when they increase output, right? So because they want to increase output, don't they think they need more raw materials? Great. So you want to produce more, you buy more raw materials, and you get that purchasing EOS. Yeah. So you just need to connect the dots from the question. The question says, oh, I want to increase my output. Okay, great. If you increase your output, you may need more workers, right? So you need more managers. And then managers, there are many layers, so it will lead to slow decision making. Then if you want to increase output, don't you need more workers to produce more? Then you hire more workers and then employees feel demotivated. Maybe the managers cannot control all the workers, right? Then you lead to boredom, right? Or you want to increase your output? Okay, we use the machines lah. Machines replace labor, mass production, they can run 24/7. Workers can only work 9 to 6, 9 to 5. And save money in labor costs as well, yeah. Yeah. Then purchasing EOS. You need increased output, you buy more materials. Yeah. So here's my 5th. Here is my 7 mark. And bulk, yeah, 8 marks. Yeah. Inflation, I wouldn't use inflation by economies of scale. Yeah, I wouldn't even touch inflation. Anything to do with economies of scale, don't touch. Because economies of scale is all about you controlling your own self. Internal especially. Inflation is something affected by you don't cause. Inflation is done by the government. I mean, not government. Inflation is the economy's thingy. So I won't touch inflation with EOS. Okay, we reached the halfway point, and it is the halfway point. Let's take a quick 5-minute break. Go stretch. Go get some water. Go Zeus coffee, whatever it is. Go to the bathroom. I need to go pee. So for those who are online, I'm gonna take a quick 5-minute break. And then we'll come back. We're going to continue on we're going to continue on with probably the most important and the biggest topic of the whole entire economics IGCSE syllabus. This is topic 4. Okay? See you guys in 5. Yeah, sure.
How there's a decrease, like when there's a decrease in the average cost because the output increases. Isn't that what the question is asking?
It's asked whether the average cost pressure always decreases. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is that it will always increase. I'll say, no, it will not, because this economy is going to happen. So the manager of the economy can occur when there are many layers of company. So he's saying that when you increase production, manager of this economy scale can occur. Okay, what you can do is that you then need to tie it back to cost, leading to slow decision making, which leads to additional costs. I think that one, then you tie the correct to the question. So here, due to inflation speed mode, due to mass mission, and then you can say this will lower productivity and it'd be more cost. Say less because it's less productive. Here, lower cost production is great. Here, bulk buying, saving cost.
The question clarifies that it is increasing production.
Yes, you are. Yeah, because economy scale is always about increasing production. Yeah, so you are right. I think what you probably need to do, what I need to do is to tie it back to cost. Yeah, so yeah. But I would think the examiner will get the idea. When you do this, examiner will understand. It doesn't mean that, oh, you never mentioned additional cost is wrong.
For EOS questions, as long as you can apply any of them.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Okay. I see some guys are still coming in and out, which is great. All right, guys, we're back. Now, this is probably the biggest question, the biggest topic so far, the government and the macroeconomy. Why? Because this is something they ask every year. Again, I'm gonna probably just focus on. I'm thinking about this. Let me think. Yeah, this one, the actual macroeconomic policies. Let's do a bit of knowledge first. Have you all learned this topic? I'm sure you all have, right? You have not? Oh boy, you're gonna be in for a treat. Every year I do this topic. Every year people struggle. So I'm sure you all, we're only going to talk strictly about demand side policies today. Okay. And we're going to talk about fiscal policy and monetary policy. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're definitely going to do that. So, yeah. So fiscal policy, who wants to try and tell me what are the tools that falls under fiscal policy? Have you guys learned this? You haven't learned yet. You guys haven't learned yet. But you three there learned already. You haven't learned yet? Oh boy. Okay. You haven't learned yet. Learn already. You learned already. So you guys haven't learned yet. Oh my. So if I give you this question, you won't know how to do, right? You guys probably know. You guys don't know. You guys haven't learned yet. Oh boy. Okay, it's okay. I will still carry on and teach. So maybe I'll make it even simpler. I'll teach what we call the sandwich method. So I'll teach the concept today. I'll teach a concept today. So I will just tell you the answer first. A fiscal policy is all about using tax and public expenditure to achieve a macroeconomic objective. A macroeconomic objective essentially is an objective that every government has for every country. If you are the Prime Minister of Malaysia, what do you want for the country? Well, I want economic growth. I want full employment. I want a low and stable inflation. And I want a balanced international trade. These are the four. Every country will have these four main goals. How do I achieve these four? I can use tools like fiscal policy and monetary policy. And monetary policy is all about using taxation, and public expenditure. This is either you increase or decrease. Up to you to achieve economic growth. That's how it is. So the question said, explain how fiscal policy can be used to boost economic growth. What I want to teach you guys is this. Now, who here likes Subway? Yeah, you know Subway? The sandwich shop? No? I'm okay? Okay. Anyone here like Subway? Anyone online? Subway fan? I used to eat a lot of Subway, then I kind of got bored of it. It was like too healthy for me. I like it. I like it. So that the idea about Subway, you get to pick and choose, right? So what I have shown you here is a piece of Subway. Now, you know when you go to Subway, you pick all the menus, right? So look at this question. Explain how fiscal policy can be used to boost economic growth. If I say this, the government can lower taxes, and then there will be economic growth. Does this make sense or not? Does this actually make sense? Do you think if I lower taxes, the economy can grow, such as income tax? I'll give you an example, income tax. It makes sense. If you lower income tax, people have more money, right? Don't you think they will spend more and then the economy will grow? Do you know economic growth? Do you know what economic growth is? It means country grow, the economy grow. That's what it means. So it makes sense. But if you write this question, if you write this answer, this is you, equivalent of you going to Subway and say, hi, what burger do you want? Oh, I just want the bun, and that's about it. You have no liao, you have no ingredients inside. How boring is that? That is so dry. There's no sauce, there's no meat, there's no vegetable, no cheese, no tomato, no sauce. Because you have literally given me the top piece and the bottom piece. That means you told me that a lower income tax will lead to economic growth. But the question I want to ask is what's happening in the middle? What will happen next? What will happen next? Like a domino. You know dominoes? Have you know those dominoes? Like that. So what I'm asking you is, what are the ingredients? What is your sauces? What are the meat and the vegetables that you want in your burger? What will happen next when you lower income tax? What will happen next? What will happen next that leads to economic growth? And this is something that you need to master, because in the exam questions such as, discuss whether monetary policy measures can increase economic growth. You just say, oh yes, monetary policy, because if you increase money supply, economic growth. You lower interest rate, money will grow. No, you must tell me why. By the way, that's monetary, it's different. We'll talk about fiscal. So, we'll do a bit of teaching as well. What is the first step? After income tax has fallen, I did say people have more money, right? What do you call that money after you pay your taxes? Not profit. Profits for business. I'm talking about individuals. For those who are at home, what do you call your income after you minus tax? Very important. And here's another pro tip. Examiners love people who use all these fancy keywords. These econs terminology, they love it. So please, if you can, don't use income. Say the actual word, which is called disposable income. So you actually say this. When the government lowers income tax, don't just straight away say, oh, the economy will grow. Say this. there will be more disposable income. Not retained, disposable income. Yeah, retained profit is for businesses. And then what's next? They have more income and then economy grow? No, not yet. And then what happens? So that is like so now tell me what is a cheese? That is your tomato, I think. No, yeah. So when people have more disposable income, people's purchasing power. Have you heard of this word before? Purchasing power increases. Means the ability to buy things is now more powerful because I have more money, right? And then maybe have one more ingredient. This will increase demand. Demand. Or I go straight to the point already. When purchasing power, so spending will increase, and then GDP increases. Oh my Lord, I'm so sorry. And then economic growth happens. What I'm trying to teach you guys is in the middle. I want to know what's happening in the middle first. Don't jump from A to Z. Tell me A, B, C, D, E, and then Z. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay? Let's try one more. Let's do monetary policy now. So I'll tell you what monetary policy is. Monetary policy is all about how we can change interest rates and money supply. So literally the government will print more money or print less money. They actually print money. Okay? So let's pick an easy one. Let's use interest rate. I can control, imagine a country right now, inflation is very high. Inflation is very high, okay? So price is very high. How can I slow down the economy? Do I want people to spend more or spend less now? Spend less. If people spend less, prices will drop, right? So what should I do with the interest rates of the banks? What do you think? So you think logically, if I increase interest rate, do you think people want to borrow more money now? No, because it's very expensive, right? Do you think people want to save now? Yes. So again, if you just say increase interest rates will lead to a controlled inflation, technically that's correct, but that's you equivalent of ordering a sandwich with just two buns and no ingredients. That's boring. So what is the ... So immediately we can say, when you increase interest rate, what's the first thing happens first? Saving will increase. Borrowing would drop. Spending will also drop. Then prices if spending falls, what happens to the prices? And then you say you will achieve the controlled inflation. You can. Then we talk about money supply. So money supply, you would then obviously you would print less money. Meaning so you give the banks less money. Loans will be less loans, so there's less opportunity to get the money. So banks say, oh, I'm sorry, this year we only can loan $1 million only. And it'll be a lot harder for people to apply for loans. There's lesser money. So people will be spending less. Yes. Okay? Increased interest rate encourages more people to save, spending power, drop, avoid demand pull. Oh, I love, again, Jay, you're going an extra step where you actually talk about the actual type of inflation. Fantastic. Examiners love that. So I have a student here that actually mentioned that the demand pull inflation will fall, which will lead to a controlled inflation. Yes, fantastic one, Jay. I like that. Even better. Great. Can also. Okay. So again, how about I give you a question to do. Discuss whether monetary policy measures can increase economic growth. I technically have given you, no, it's actually not. This is inflation. So try. I've given you my notes. Try. Do point form. The question is this, guys. This is a D question, discuss question, 8 marks. Do I have space here? Great. Discuss whether monetary policy, again, if you do not know what monetary policy is, interest rates and money supply, the actual printing of money, can increase economic growth. So what can the government do? So if we increase the money supply, there's now more money to be lent out to the banks. Banks can lend out more money, then yeah, great. What about interest rate? Yeah, good. So have an explanation. Yes. Yes, you may. Yeah, of course. Okay, for those who are at home, the question is this. Discuss whether monetary policy measures can increase economic growth. Yes, you may, of course. Yes. I would focus on expansionary only, but then you must talk about the cons. What are the consequences that can happen from? Yeah, because you wouldn't talk about contractionary because it would not lead to economic growth. Yeah. So we talk about expansionary, but then there'll be some consequences from that. Yeah. Okay. All right, maybe another minute just to get some people back from the bathroom and maybe start. After that, we got 2 more questions to do, and then we're going to do some multiple choices as well. Okay, let's have a look at some answers here. Okay, Jace, everything seems to be correct. I like your answers, okay, and also reduces current account deficit. So you want to talk about currency? Okay, all right. Anything over here and TikTok? Hello, hi. Okay. Cool. No new chats, right? I'm just looking at the screen here. Okay, cool. All right, another minute and then we'll get some people back and we can discuss this question already. Okay, for those who just joined, we're just waiting for some of the answers. I'm just reading another Jay's just submitted another answer here. Okay, discourages consumers from saving due to low dividend earn. Yeah, great. That's a great disadvantage point. I like that point too. Nice one, Jay. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. They come back, they can read. Do you want to share? Anything, yeah, just share something for me to write, I guess. Okay, so monetary can also talk about exchange rate, we can. So when you lower exchange rate, what will happen? Same thing, don't straight away say, oh, you achieve economic growth, right? So what was the thing you said? Okay, great. And then increases demand for what? Like in general or what? I'm just looking at what I wrote last time, so huh? Okay, I wrote here increasing demand for local products. Okay? I wrote increased demand of exporting businesses. So export's cheaper, right? So people buy more from you. And thus economic growth. Okay? So you are using one of the rarer points, which is exchange rate, which is still okay. I always tell my students just use interest rate and money supply. But great, I will still give them up for that. Great. Guy in the blue shirt, you want to try 1 point? You managed to do anything about the interest rate and money supply? I think interest rate will be easier to explain. Lower interest rate encourages what? Good. Yeah. So increases borrowing and spending. And I will also just talk about savings as well. This will lower savings. And then what will happen? Why would it achieve economic growth? You're halfway there. So when borrowing and spending increases, what will increase and then economic growth? We think you're just missing one more ingredient in your Subway sandwich. We can say, if people spend more, they borrow more, we can say demand for goods and services increases, and then GDP increases, and then economic growth there. So demand for goods and services increase, and then economic growth. Yeah? Fantastic. So that's technically, obviously I'm doing short form here. If you do this, it's like 4 marks. Okay, so again, I like to have a balanced answer. I'm going to quickly look at my notes here. What did I wrote here? Other things I wrote here was increase money supply, encourages people to borrow more money, increases of loans, more investment, and GDP and economic growth, right? So like when there's more money supply, businesses, I just specifically talk about businesses, but businesses may want to take more loans to start businesses. When that happens, they need to spend more money, they hire more people, and then there's more demand in economic growth. So that we can talk about. Okay, so let's talk about no. Why is it that when we do this expansionary monetary policy, like low interest rate, low exchange rate, increase money supply, it will actually not cause economic growth? So the no we can say is that a lower interest rate may not result in an increase of borrowing and spending. Why? Lower interest rate is very cheap to borrow money. Why would they may not borrow and spend? What can happen? Because what do you think? Take a guess. Try a guess. For those who are online, I want an answer. When you lower interest rate, borrowing and spending will increase, right? But why it may not? What can happen in the economy that may not cause people to borrow money and spend? Very good, because of low consumer confidence. Maybe it is such as a recession. It is a recession now. Or maybe COVID. Yes. Very good question. Recession is when there is 2 or more consecutive quarters of a fall in GDP. So recession means bad. Economic growth is good. Recession is bad. Like GDP falls for a long period of time. Like COVID, after COVID, economy dropped, right? Recession. Yeah. So when there's a recession, even though I have money, I wouldn't want to spend. Because what if COVID is longer? What if lockdown is longer? So I'd rather save. So the consumer confidence is very low. Okay? Or they're having a war, like Ukraine. You need people to spend money? No, I buy a new house, suddenly next day bomb. Right? No, right? So, it could be any global factors, right? Yeah, it could be also there could be hyperinflation. We can talk about that. Did I ever talk about inflation? I'm just looking. I wrote here, increase in money supply can lead to inflation, and prices can increase faster. Therefore, economic growth will slow down because demand will fall. That's something I wrote here. Anything else you want to share, or was that something that you all took? Was that an answer you wrote? You want to share your answer you have? you're thinking too far ahead. I think they just want you to know that once you use, like, you already established it is expansionary, great. So when you use expansion to achieve economic growth, don't talk about the after already. And then, yeah, of course, economic growth, then it gets too high, then you use contraction again. But don't explain that, then you'll never end. So you've used expansionary monetary policy to achieve economic growth. Along that way, what can happen? Wait, whether monetary policy? Yeah, along that way, what can it will actually decrease instead? Decrease economic growth. So I actually like to use the answer we talked about, what I mentioned just now. Increase in money supply, right? So great, there are more borrowing, more loans, more investments. People spend more money to open up more cafes. They invest to buy a new machine. They spend money to buy a building, to start a school or shopping mall. And then can lead to inflation. High inflation will lower demand. And a lower demand will lower economic growth. Right? Because the question says this, whether monetary policy measures can increase economic growth. So I said, yes, it can. If you do a lower exchange rate, low interest rate, these all will achieve economic growth. But when you do the expansionary monetary policy, if there is a recession, if people have low consumer confidence, you will not hit economic growth. And then what if people borrow too much money? What if inflation is very high? You will not lead to economic growth. Okay? So again, maybe this topic, because you have not learned yet, is still not, you may not get it, you may lose, suddenly you may. But yeah, okay, moving on. Let's talk about multinationals. Yeah. Yeah, we've got two more questions, which is great. Yeah, let's do D, question D. So we're going to talk about multinationals, and but I want to ask a question. What is GDP per head? Okay, per population, right? So GDP per head is GDP divided by population, right? So I just want to make that clear. Okay? So this question is this, multinational companies. Have you all learned multinationals yet? Not yet, right? Some have not yet. Not yet. So a multinational company, maybe you can try it, just test it general knowledge. A multinational company is a business that has operations in multiple countries. Like they have factories, retail shops, blah, 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 all that stuff. Usually, and headquartered in one main country. So these are very big companies like Apple, your McDonald's, all that stuff. Do you think they want to locate in a country with a high GDP? GDP per head. In this case, to make it easier, GDP. Because your answers will be kind of more or less similar. Yes, they want, right? Obviously, right? Because why? High GDP means that's high. Yeah, very good, very good. So I think the yes would be easy. Now think about the no's. So try. Again, if you don't know where you can find the answer, my notes. Yeah, save your answers. So here's the next question. Well, again, because we're running out of time, I want to speed up. I want to do some multiple choice with you guys as well. Okay? Discuss whether multinational companies will always locate in countries with a high GDP per head. I mean, it's pretty obvious, yes, but there can be also a no. I mean, not can be, there will be, there must be a no. Okay? So if you know there's a lot of yeses, great, give me 3 yes. Explain those 3 yeses to get the 6 marks. But you still need to give me 1 no. And explain that no for the 7, 8 mark. Okay? So that's the tip there. All right, Jay, I'm looking at your answer here. Your first answer, no. Are you sure MNC are unable to achieve EOS? In fact, it should be the opposite, right? Because MNCs are large companies, so they should be able to achieve economies of scale. This results them unable to become internationally competitive. Yeah, so I think your answer is a bit flawed there because MNCs, the bigger the company, the more likely they can benefit EOS. Only small companies cannot achieve EOS because they can't do large production. So that one is a bit of a flawed statement. I'm now also finding my answers. I also forgot what I did already. Okay. Pretty easy. Actually, this is an easy question. It's actually quite easy. So it's general knowledge, right? I mean, if you're a big company, don't you want to locate in a country that has a high GDP? I mean, the yes is pretty obvious. The no may not be. Maybe we can do this already. I think it's pretty okay. So I think I want to use some of your answers actually. Those are actually like the obvious answers. So yes. What's the first answer you gave me? Good. High GDP per head means high spending power. And then what does that mean? So if that means, yes, more people are more likely to buy their goods and services. Very good. There was another one you mentioned? Was any one? The only one, right? I think you did mention another one. I think you forgot. I just forgot already. So the competitors one could be a con, could be a negative actually, because there'll be a lot of competition, which we can talk about later. Anybody answers? Yes, want to share? Very good. You have access to better skilled worker, more educated, and better and healthier. Higher GDP, that could mean that they are healthier, smarter, and more skilled. Very good. Yeah, so this is your mark. So more access to skilled workers. Actually, before that, I would want to make it clear is that like high GDP per head tends to have better educated workforce. So MNC will have access to skilled workers. Very good, very good. Right, but if I go to Africa, they may not have gone to proper education, so they are less likely to be skilled, right? If you do like manual work, like let's say, like farming, then yeah, sure. Just carry bricks, farming. But if you want to open up computer, some tech AI stuff, yeah, no chance. Right? In fact, I can think of so many yeses. You guys want to share another yes? Anybody want to share another yes? Wait, I think I saw some. Ooh, okay. Anteater's Dream says, can I say there's more restrictions to countries with more GDP per head? The higher the GDP per head does not guarantee, mean that there will be more restrictions. There's no correlation. There's no correlation. Oh, Xander, I can speak Mandarin, But that I won't be able to read that. I want to help Google translate that for me. Someone just typed in Mandarin the answer. So I sorry, man. English paper, sorry. Yeah. You know what? I won't write what. You want to just give me another yes? And there's quite a lot of yeses, right? I say that I can't think right now. I wrote here, people have more money. Yeah, okay. I wrote here, high GDP will have better infrastructure, better roads, transportation, so better occupational and geographical mobility. Which means, you know, in a rich country, the roads are better, public transportation, the lampposts better. In a lower GDP, the roads are trash, get accident, traffic light don't work, right? So better access. You can imagine you want to transport raw materials. If there's no roads, there's always traffic jam or no public transportation, your worker cannot get to work on time. You know? So infrastructure, that's very important. You know infrastructure? No. In the word infrastructure? Yeah. That's another answer. Okay, so I think the yes is easy. Let's think about the no. Let's change color. Just now you actually said it's correct. It's correct. Competition. Higher GDP will tend to have more, oh my lord, more competition. I don't know why I'm having this today, this issue. Have more competition, right? Like, this country's rich, I want to sell in that country. Then don't you think all the other businesses also do the same thing? Right? So let me say they are less likely to generate or to make high profits. So they may want to locate somewhere else, you know? Okay? Can I have another no? I want to challenge the skilled workers. You said, yes, you have access to skilled workers. But in a high GDP country, got it. And also, there's less supply. There tend to be more employed. In a poor country, there's going to be a lot of unemployed. So easier to hire. But in a rich country, everyone has a job already. So the supply of staff is limited. Not only that, they're going to be more expensive to hire as well. Fantastic. So no. Again, those countries tend to have lesser unemployed and less supply of workers means higher wages, which can be expensive to hire. Ta-da! Great answers, fantastic answers actually. Great answer. I kind of combined 2 points into one. Not only is it harder as the worker, it's harder to find because there's less supply, and they're more expensive. So it's like I'm really emphasizing my point. Great. Yeah, I think it's quite clear. This is 8 marks here. Anybody want to share any other answers here? Did someone type in Korean as well? Damn, I was so international. Anybody want to share any other answers before we move on to the last question and then multiple choice? Okay, want to say something? No, everyone okay? Yep. Think. What is it? What else did I write here? I wrote here countries with high GDP, their raw materials tend to be very expensive, so cost of production can be very high. Very similar to the labor issue also. Right? I'm sure raw materials in Singapore is going to be more expensive than raw materials in Malaysia, right? Or something like that. Or like in Europe. That's why people want to set up in China and India, because the cost of production is cheaper. Makes sense. Okay, cool. Then last question we're going to be talking about is protectionism. And we did talk about that early on when I used that as an example, but we're going to use that. Last question. We are on time because multiple choice will be 10 questions and we're doing 10 minutes. So let's literally spend no more than 13 minutes on this. Okay, the question is this. Discuss, again, we're only going to use the 8-mark questions because that's the difficult one. That's the one that I can have more information. And we did some graphs already. Discuss whether or not, because then obviously you know discuss, you already know it on both sides. Protectionism is effective in raising living standards. This one is not an easy question. So it's a bit of a challenging one. I like to pick these questions. Oh, I do have a multiple choice question for you, the tip. I think I did end it off as multiple choice. Okay, great. Okay, so kind of similar to what we talked about early on. As when I asked you guys, remember I gave you some questions? Well, you guys can give it a go. Try this. So protectionism is your trade barriers. You know, what are your trade barriers? You have tariff, which is a tax on imports, quota, embargo, and there's one more, which is like the oh my god, I'm blanking here. Something about making the, oh my god, something about quality control. I forgot already. What does my notes say? Anyway, the three main ones here are tariff, quota, embargo, right? So these are your protectionisms. And the quality control, you know, like anything that is low quality, you reject. And then of course, subsidies for your local products. You can use subsidy as a form of protectionism, but it's on your locals. All the other trade barriers is on the foreign items coming in. Okay? So should you have it or should you not? Like, is it effective to raise living standards? If you ban all the foreign products, if you make it more expensive, will it increase living standards? Yes or no? Like that. So it actually is a very open-ended question, but it can be a bit more challenging, yeah. So last one today, guys, give it a go. Discuss, the last question today is this. This is the last 8-marker. Discuss whether or not protectionism is effective in raising living standards. Got a new message here? All right. Sorry, the screen went black, so I think it's the cable lah. Sorry, guys. Okay, we're back. You'll create more job opportunities. No, I'm not sure of that. I'm not sure, Xander, which one is that for? Sorry. I'm only seeing the screen now, yeah, can we go back to YouTube? Jay has these results slow domestic firms will encourage consumers domestic. There is those jobs for high income, which results in effect based on. Oh, those are the previous questions, right, Jay? I'm sorry. Yeah. So for the previous question, Jay, all your answers are fantastic, actually. Great. These are better answers. These are your upgraded ones, right? Yeah, these are great. Nice. Yeah. So don't assume that. Sorry. YouTube, can I scroll up a bit? So Jay, I think your mistake just now was that you mentioned that multinationals are unable to achieve economies of scale. Yeah. So they can achieve economies of scale. Yeah. Okay. Everything seems to be good so far. Nice. Okay, maybe, is that better? I know someone said on TikTok. Is it? Never mind. I'm just gonna zoom in like that. Xander, I hope you do not write Chinese in your English exam, yeah? All right, shall we? Shall we get this over with? All right, what do you have for me? I have some answers here. I wrote in point form. So what do you guys think? Yes, is it effective in raising standards? Should we start with yes? So for example, yes, we should have protectionism. So we should encourage trade barriers. If we have trade barriers, how would it increase living standards? Don't use public, because public means like the free government goods, like public schools. So use local. Yeah. Okay. All right. The concept is correct. The concept is correct. Yeah, I wouldn't say money coming back, but you're correct. So you can say yes. It will, again, I'll use point form, okay? So essentially it will encourage local businesses sales to increase. Basically encourages people to buy local businesses, right? Local products. Because protectionism makes imports more expensive, right? And then you can say is that local, so you can say local businesses therefore will benefit and standard living SOL increases, right? Something like that, okay? You know, essentially what you're trying to say, you support local businesses, then locals will benefit and local businesses will increase. Okay, what else? By the way, living standards is pretty general. It's like health, the food you eat, the water you drink. Yeah. Doesn't mean better money, because if you have more money doesn't mean living standards better. You can be very rich, but in a country that has a lot of pollution and the living standards is actually worse. Yeah, but in this case, mostly about money. Yeah. Next one. Yeah, you can say. So actually it's something similar. So like doubling down on that is that if local businesses benefit, there'll be more employment opportunities, right? Because if you keep buying BMW cars, then the German workers are gonna, the employment, they're gonna get more workers to build more. But if you buy, let's say, Peugeot or Proton cars, then we may need to hire more Malaysian mechanics and Malaysian workers and Malaysian salespeople, right? So more employment opportunities, this will increase. And then we can maybe talk about, like, there's two routes. A, we can talk about the good things is that more employment opportunities, people have more jobs, they can afford better quality lifestyle, they can buy a better car, buy a better aircon and whatever. Or we can go down the other route, which is this. Something what you mentioned. That means the government there'll be less unemployment, then there'll be less crime, then the government does not spend a lot of money to solve that. They can use that money to help build more schools and hospitals like that. You know? So you can go both routes. I like that. Let's go down your route. We can say government will be spending less on unemployment benefits. We can say that. And more on merit goods, e.g. schools, hospitals, something like that. Right? So what I'm trying to say is this, guys. If people keep buying the local products, the employment for the local country will increase. Then the government does not need to worry about that. Last time I had a lot of unemployed people, I need to spend money on unemployment benefits or police officers to solve the crime because unemployment, you are stealing and robbing and stuff. Now, the government can use that money to do things even better, like spend more money on helping the poor or the sick, build more schools and hospitals like that. It's great. Okay, should we do some no's? So, if we have all these policies that ban if we have all the protectionism, right, why do you think our living standards will fall? Very good. So imagine if we have the protection, we ban the good quality raw materials that we need to produce things. I'll give you an example. Let's say we're building a car. Unfortunately, we don't have great materials. To build a car, you need metal, rubber, glass, and our metal, rubber, and glass is terrible. Let's say low quality. And you drive a car, after 1 year, it breaks down because of all these rules. And let's say we buy rubber. Actually, in Malaysia, we've got a lot of rubber plantations, so no problem lah. Maybe the metal parts we buy from China is better, but we got all this protectionism. So no, we can say this. Businesses that need to import raw materials may not have access to better quality and may result in using a lower quality. Oh, why did it change? And may using lower quality and produce bad quality products. I don't know, something like that, right? So it's like in the end, I'm forced to use the lower quality raw materials because I cannot buy any good quality raw materials from overseas because of all the protectionism, all the restrictions, right? Bad goods and services, right? And this result into people complaining, people getting accidents. If you buy my lousy car, you buy my milk, and then it's like already spoiled because you get the idea, right? I buy my phone and then suddenly it explodes and I die. Yeah, that's a bad explanation, but you get the idea, right? And then it leads to lower living standards, right? Because, you know, I buy a condo and then every time it got water leak lah, all these breakdown lah, you know, living standards, right? Good. Anything else? Yeah. So the less variety, it's the same, it's very similar, right? Less variety of goods and services. Imagine you only can eat one. Imagine the government say, oh, only chicken is allowed in Malaysia, or we ban beef, all the other things. We're gonna go crazy, right? Or I only can buy black color and white color clothing. I don't know. So less variety goods and services, less options. You know, when you go shopping, there's less option. When you go to the supermarket, there's only like one type of cereal to brand, right? It's less options. You can say, what did I say here? I said something along the lines of, I didn't say that. Oh my God, why did I not say that? Oh, here we go, no. Oh, I did say protectionism may reduce competition and the domestic businesses will get demotivated and they produce less quality products. I wrote that one. But yeah, less variety versus less options for consumers. And they get bored. What happened to my pen? Okay, I guess that means it's time for me to stop writing, is it? Oh. Hello, sorry. I don't know what happened. Did I break your iPad? What is it? The button? Yeah, I'm actually at my last writing point, so which is great. It's okay. Oh yeah, it's no battery. Okay. Okay, well, that means that's a sign for me to stop writing because I'm done. The last thing I want to share, another pro tip is answering multiple choice. So I'm going to use this as an example. Okay, we're done for the writing. I'm going to give you guys some tips now for multiple choice. And then we're going to do, I do have it. Sorry, I have it here. And then we're going to do the multiple choice at the back. Yeah? We can? So we're going to just spend the last 15 minutes on doing multiple choice. But before we do multiple choice, I want to just quickly show you this diagram here. Okay, these are all legit IGCSE questions. Okay, so check this out. Diagram shows the demand for supply and diagram for product. The origin point is X. Okay, which point indicates nuclear point? If there is an increase in the price of close substitute for the product, while others remain the same. I will be giving you a lot of pro tips for multiple choice. I have talked a lot about paper 2. I've talked a lot about writing questions. I've never given you any tip for multiple choice. Unfortunately, there isn't much I can say. Just circle the correct answer. But here's a pro tip. You can cross out wrong answers that you think is wrong. The chances of you getting this right now is what? It's 25%. But if you cross out one answer, it goes up to 33%. If you cross out two answers, it goes up to 50%. It's just like when I talked about the when we talk about the supply and demand shift, like if you know it's a supply shift, then it's definitely going to be supply shift left or right. There are only two options. If you didn't know whether it's a supply shift, you're thinking, oh, is it demand shift? Is it supply shift? That's like 4 options. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to give you a tip on how we can reduce this, like increase your chance of getting the right answer. So this question has 2 things. It says, when there is an increase in the price of a close substitute. Yeah, actually no, my bad. There's only one thing. So so first thing first, when there's an increase in the price of a close substitute, is this a demand shift or a supply shift? It's a demand shift, correct. So you already know that it cannot be B or D. So you can cross out B or D. So now your chances is either A or C. Last time was 25%, now a 50% increase. You get it? So that's the little pro tip that I want to give you. Again, maybe we can try with a few multiple choices later. Like you can tell me which is the confirmed wrong answers. There's always going to be one. If you can spot two, fantastic. If you can spot three, you already got the answer lah. Right? Okay? So now what's the answer? Is it A or B? A or C? You sure? You sure? Let's have a look. If the price of a closed substitute increase, don't you think people want to buy more of your product? So demand will shift to the right, so it's C. Yeah, correct, C. Yeah, you got that idea, okay? So let's go into the multiple choice for the last bit. We're in the last stretch here, okay? Do the multiple choice, then come back to this. All right. These are all from IGCSE, but I just changed a bit lah. I just changed a bit of the wording because I want to make it different. Okay. The production prosperity curve of a country has shifted from PPC 1 to PPC 2. What has most likely to cause this shift? So let's cross out the wrong answers first. Or I would say, which one do you think is more correct or whatever? Which one's definitely wrong? Like an increase in imports, I mean, yeah, right? So I think my pen's out, so that's out. Increase in population sounds correct, so I'm going to tick that for a bit. Increase in welfare benefits, doesn't make sense. So like right now, based on logic, is either B or D. So what's the answer here? Which was more correct? So now we're faced, this is another situation where, honestly, I'm going to be very honest with you. B and D technically is correct. But the question is this, which is more correct? D? Yes, it's D. Because if you have more population, what if they're all poor and unemployed? Yeah, right? You gotta go? Oh no, I'm sorry. Have a nice day. Yes, yeah, D is correct. Good job. Right, so again, we're now applying what we're learning. We're doing MCQ, but I want you to also figure out what is the confirmed wrong answer we cross out, and it's like logic. Okay, next one here. A diagram shows the market for IT graduates. The origin equivalent is X. Later, more IT students graduate from university and greater use of artificial intelligence. So two things are happening. When more students graduate from university, is that supply or demand shift? Supply, you have more, so supply shift. So therefore, I know it's a supply to the right. Eh? Yeah, so it's either now D or C, right? And then it says greater use of artificial intelligence increases demand for IT staff, then yeah, so it's C. Good job. Okay? 3, an economy operates entirely as a market system. Which type of service will not be provided? So market system is free market economy. So I already know. Yeah, so I know what is something that do not exist in the free market economy. Government. So I just need to find the government. So free government healthcare. Correct. Easy, right? Okay, 4. The price of good. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. Sorry, guys. 4 was a flawed question. Sorry. This is we get to skip 4 because 4 in IG paper they said they basically it's a flawed question. So forget about 4. My bad. I forgot to change it. I'm sorry. Okay. A film production company purchases a group of cinemas. What is this an example of? This one unfortunately cannot pick lah. You gonna go already? Alright man, good luck, all the best. Yeah, no problem man. Oh, can you do me a favor? Before you go, can you help fill in the question, the feedback form? Yeah, just do that real quick. That will help us. It'll help me as well. Thank you so much. Forgot to ask the other guy. Yeah. Okay, what do you think this one is? Have you learned this one yet? A film production company purchases a group of cinemas. What type of example is this? This is actually a forward vertical integration. Have you learned it yet? No. Okay. No worries. Okay, 6. What is most likely to have caused a demand pull inflation? So demand pull inflation is actually caused by consumers actually. So nothing much about the businesses. Now I know an increase in corporation tax, they're making less profits, that's out. Increase in income tax will actually lower, that's out. Increase in price of raw materials, yes, the price increase, right? So this is potential answer. Increase in disposable income, people spend more, this is the correct answer. So which is more correct now? Why? B is technically correct, but B, what kind of inflation do you think B will cause? Cost push inflation. Yes. Yeah. Okay. The table shows real GDP and population for 4 countries. Which country has the highest GDP per capita? So, what is the GDP per capita formula again? You gave me just now. What is the formula GDP per capita? GDP divided by population. So here, you need to do a bit of math. So I'm terrible at math, so I guess I need to do it with you guys. So yeah, just do math. Right? So you need to get basically here, because think about it. They're asking for GDP per capita. Is there a column for GDP per capita? No. So you need to create your own column. And the good thing is that you know the formula and you have numbers. So I need to just basically go, let's do it together. So Mace's number, it is D. Right? Huh? I mean, I know 12 times 5 is 60, but I can't do 80 divided by 50. Or 200 divided by 80, I can't do that as well. Okay? Cool. Alright, another math related question. The diagram shows fixed cost, variable cost, and total cost of firms. What is the firm's total variable cost at output 100? Yeah, so this one again, I mean, these are things where I can't, it's either you know it or you don't lah, unfortunately. Yeah. That's a typo. That's my typo. That's my typo. Yeah. So let's spend a bit of time. What is this line called? This straight line down here? No, this is called fixed costs. This line is variable cost. This is total cost. So at 100 output, you just follow the line, you hit variable cost, 25,000. Yeah. Okay. Logically, what is your total cost at 100 output? It's 30,000. Because at total cost is 30,000 here, right? Total cost, TC. And your fixed cost is fixed throughout. Your fixed cost is 5,000. Sorry? So 30,000 minus 5,000 is 25,000. So that has to be it, because your formula for total cost is fixed cost plus variable cost. Right? So fixed cost is 5,000. Variable cost is 25,000. This equals 30,000. Okay? Two more. Oh my god, which combination of factors would attract a multinational company producing smartphones to operate in a low-income country? Low-income country. Low corporation tax in a competitive local market? Low corporation tax, yes, but competitive market, no, right? I want to operate in a competitive market. High economic growth rate and cheap supply of labor. Sounds correct. So I'll tick that. Limited supply workforce and cheap land. No, right? And strict employment laws. No, right? Yeah. So here, B. Last question. A Singaporean company buys insurance from a company in the US. How will this transaction be recorded in the Singaporean balance of payments? Ooh. So first thing first, what is insurance? Is it a trade-in good or a trade-in service? Insurance, can you touch it? Is it something that you can touch and feel? It's a service. So immediately, what can you cross out? A and B. Yes. So Singaporean buys insurance, so your money is going out. Yeah. Credit is good. Credit, if I say 100 ringgit has been credited into your account, that means I've given you 100 ringgit. But when you buy insurance, when you're spending money, money going out. So it's debit, so it has to be D. No, it's D. Yeah. Okay? Guys, here's the last thing I want to say. For paper 2, here's the last pro tip for you guys. Guys who are still here, I apologize. I did a quick multiple choice with them. Here's the last tip that I want to share before you go. For paper 2, section A, read the questions first, and then you read the case study. Why? Because if you read the case study first, and then you read the questions, and then you go back to read case study again, you need to find the answer. But if you read the questions first, your brain subconsciously will think, oh, I need to remember these are the questions they're going to ask. So when you read the case study, when you know what they're asking for, you could immediately highlight already. Okay? Highlight any important facts, statements, figures you need to know. I talked a lot about this today. Pay attention to the mark allocation. Okay? Never skip any question, jot down point form. If you cannot die, just do point form. Okay? If they ask related, so I think this is something important for one of you guys here. Only if they ask the question, what relating to the question, then you need to relate to the question. Most likely, this will only happen in the case study. Section B, you don't need to, unless they specifically ask. You know, so if they ask us, according to the article, please identify 2 public goods. You must use the examples only in the case study. Okay? And lastly, this goes for every subject. Please check your work before you submit your paper, especially last 5 minutes. Please check your work. You never know, suddenly you turn, oh, got one more question to do, you miss one MCQ, please. Okay? Guys, thank you so much for spending 3 hours with me. Before you go, I want you to know is that whatever that I've been teaching you guys today, I also do this for students that are struggling with exam. They had to pay me I do private tuition on the side. So they have to pay me, right? I'm giving this all for free, all sponsored by IGCSEflix. So it'd be great if you guys help me quickly do a, do that for survey as well. Okay, help me create the feedback form. You know, thank you so much, guys, today. For those who are online, thank you so much for staying in. You can quickly now ask me any last-minute questions here. Again, if you're someone that is struggling with the subject econs and business studies, I do offer private tuition, but that's something I want to take on at the side. If you do need, you can come talk to me if you want. Other than that, thank you so much. Have a great day. I wish you all the best in your exams to come. Next week, tomorrow we have math and chemistry. So stay tuned for those. Yeah, math and chemistry. And I would like to give these to the three remaining musketeers. There you go. Thank you so much. Yeah. What school? Hey, weren't you here last week?
Yeah.
Yeah. What school are you in? Wesley. I remember. That's a very popular school. You? What school do you go to?
Heritage.
I know that school. Maverick. I don't know that school. Where's that, huh? Is that in KL? Glen Maria. Is it Shah Alam? Satya Alam. Oh, okay. Maverick. International school? Oh, yeah. Cool. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Xander. Since you guys are free, can you give me